All right, there's a motion on the floor.
Oh, I do have a question. What was the motion? Because it's been so long.
Yeah, it says.
Motion is to just for those three businesses that are circled there, which is Koskinen's, Spruce Row, and Moore's Marine to make
How about the old sawmill?
that's
That's another,
because we're not.
another
That's
motion.
different.
These
You just want those three first. Okay,
three legacy business.
okay.
I think you're going in a different direction. Yeah, to turn it to the actual land use study.
Yeah.
Right now, because it's important, it borders.
What about craft campsite?
Crafts,
Yeah.
yep, legacy.
All right, so we just had the old sawmill.
Right.
Yep.
All right, so we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So motion's been made, seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? No opposed.
That motion was to the Koski and Spruce Row.
Correct.
You got it. All right. Not even qualified to use that thing.
Now you can do.
Let's do sawmill.
So, yeah, all I want to do is that was a development district is the purple. The red, I don't even know why it's commercial. That should just be either low density or
Do you
agricultural
have
or
a
whatever.
proposal for it?
Yes, I make a motion to change that.
To change it to what? That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
Change the commercial section to, let's say, low density for now.
Okay.
Until we decide on what low density is.
Got it. Well, that-
Or merges with agriculture.
Well, the other ones are rural.
Wait, we're not
Up.
over on 96.
No, no, no.
No, up that one.
It's a piece there.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so interesting. So this is actually Stover's development district.
that's a
then.
development district, but the rest of it is not commercial. It's really,
That's so interesting. For all this time, I thought that the 96 piece was the development district.
no.
Yeah, I don't know.
It hasn't been used in probably 25 years,
Got it.
but it's
so that's
still a
another-
development district that's there on the books.
Thank you for that.
And they own
clarification.
70 acres and the development district is 32 of them.
Right. So the rest of it should just be low density.
Low dense for now. We'll call it low density residential.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Carl. Further discussion? All in favor?
Were we gonna add another parcel to that or no?
No, I think the other one.
The other's a separate thing. Okay, got it.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed?
Changing it from now, but not. Agriculture, so I don't know how to vote. I guess I'll abstain again. I'm totally in favor of changing. I don't think it should be low density residential.
Well,
It's
the reason I
rural.
said low density is because we haven't, yeah, I mean, but we
Residents.
haven't really decided on what we're doing with the entire land.
Okay, changing it to something.
Just changing it
Other
to
than that,
whatever
yeah.
the yellow is,
Yeah.
that's up there.
Can you,
Yeah.
can you correct that motion? It should be rural residential.
Change the sawmill.
Yes,
Red
the old
half
sort
of
of.
the sawmill marker.
The rural residential, yeah. All right, and that was everyone and Roxanne abstain.
But my comment is that this is circular and we haven't gotten to the.
Right, but I just had to
Yeah.
change
I
something.
know, I agree. I
Yeah.
just wanna be.
That makes sense.
Really where my head is.
Okay, can we jump down? Oh, sorry, Carl, go ahead.
Well, another simple, we got Rich Goldman here, is to put a historic,
That's where I was going.
Right,
the
historic
historic, yeah, historic hamlet marker, it's just a symbol on the map. I don't think there's any definition that has to go with it or anything like that. You know, it just recognizes that area as a historic
So you-
hamlet.
Yeah, so just mark it as historic hamlet on the
Yeah.
map, not create a whole new character
No.
area.
no, just historical, right.
Yeah, cause Rich, you're back here.
Yep.
Can I ask the public, you guys
we can't.
censor.
No.
Sorry.
No public.
I would be careful though, because historic actually does have,
Yeah.
I'm historic
Mhm.
preservationist, historic means something.
SHPO is
So,
one thing. right?
I would say it's a legacy hamlet, because in all
Mhm.
honesty, it's lost most of its hamlet features except residential.
It-
Hamlets historically were,
Mhm.
had, small
Other
businesses
things.
and churches and community granges and things like that. It doesn't have any of that anymore, so I think it's a legacy hamlet. I would say,
Okay.
so I would use a more like,
That's fine,
Can I
Yeah,
ask
that's
a
fine.
clarifying kind of planning type of question? What effect does that designation have on future zoning.
None.
None.
So why are we putting it on the map? This is intended to guide future zoning and land
I'm
use.
glad you asked that
Mhm.
because that ties into my question about the archaeological
Mhm.
piece that Kurt Jordan presented on, right? Do we need to create an area for it? I don't think we do because actually it's protected at higher levels.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to, that was another question that was on my list
There
of
was a,
questions.
and
tonight.
to that point, I'm sorry, Roxanne.
No, I have a big comment on that, so I don't.
To that
think it's
point,
all.
back to, there's some overriding considerations out there in the world that are gonna tell this land use map to go jump in the lake. One of them that has come up a couple of different times is land trust ownership and an easement, right? You could put this red here and allow 10-story buildings on a land trust conservation easement, and it would mean nothing because the easement prevails. The
Right.
easement runs with the land and it's not affected by zoning and yada yada yada. Actually, in reverse, I'll tell you, if there was a piece of land out there zoned or with the highest intensity of use, and the owner decided now I want to put it in a conservation easement, they're actually going to get they're going to be in a better tax position if they're using it in that way, right? So what a lot of people do is get their property rezoned to high density residential and then put it in conservation
Yeah.
because they get the value of high density residential versus of ag land. It's a little bit weird, but it happens. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out to your point. If it's an historical archaeological site, it really doesn't matter what the SHPO and others are going to require the same level of care go into it, whether it's got a high density or a low density designation.
Are we just talking about Waterberg and being historic or whatever? Are we talking about this topic?
Now, let's talk about the Hamlet. I'm sorry,
I'm
I
happy
took
to
us off
talk
the
about
road.
that topic. I have some thoughts on that for
Took us off the
sure.
road.
Yeah, one thing at a time.
Okay.
Go ahead, Roxanne. You had the historic Hamlet.
No, well, I wanted to speak to this map gets thrown out the window anyway because of conservation things, but I will speak to that later because it goes to something else I wanted to raise, but I brought up making it, I don't know, a separate thing, historic Hamlet, whatever it's called right now, leaving it as that because I was trying to understand with regard to zoning. Otherwise, it's low density residential like everything else, but because it has such old properties on such small lots and everything, that maybe there are characteristics of that hamlet area that are different than the rest of low density residential. And when you write zoning, the zoning has to speak to the whole district, what's allowed, what's not allowed, what are the constraints. And so that was the reason, and based on the public input, that I thought it made sense to make that its own thing. You can have a historic marker there, but it does seem like perhaps it's different than, say, like the low density residential of Hinging Post or out along Curry Road or right around the village, when you were making zoning parameters for it.
How old is that village?
The Hamlet?
I mean, how old is it? Yeah, that little down in Waterberg. Are there old homes there?
It's like a Greek revival, so it's gonna be
I can't find it right now.
1830s to 1860s was its development date. Probably.
There's no historical markers there.
Yeah, 1834. See, I got it
And we
for
can,
4 years.
I mean, there are many ways to honor it, right? You can honor it in the document, lots of different ways, including the marker that Carl was describing. And Roxanne's point is, and that's the question, how is land use affected, right? So, but with the marker, land use isn't affected, that's just a planning concept, but with a designation, a character area designation, it does affect it. And so I would say, if you're looking to reinforce the land uses that have been there in the past with this, you can do it one of two ways. One, you can create its own, or two, we reference in here these placemaking plans in these areas. You can identify the hamlet as an area that requires a placemaking plan, and the placemaking plan serves as additional guidance to zoning so that you don't have to have another character area designation.
when it comes to planning, if somebody wanted to build a home there at the present time and they wanted to put a modern home in that area, they can't.
Today,
Yeah,
Yeah.
today, because there's no zoning for that.
Yeah.
So the only way to protect it would be to either make it into a hamlet that has its own zoning. Because that's the only way you're gonna protect it. There is no other way.
it's true.
Well,
It's in the water, I
Excuse
think
me?
it's in the Waterberg Hamlet zoning now, right? It has its own zoning. I think.
But it's not designated as a hamlet. It's just,
I think it does up
Yeah,
there on
it
the
looks like
2019 zoning, it has a.
Not the entire
certain
area.
grade
It's-
designation.
there's a gray area there, right?
Right,
But
and
I
then-
don't know if that was considered a hamlet or
It's
not.
called the Waterberg Hamlet Zone.
So then it should be again.
But it's very small.
Yeah,
It's a lot smaller than what we have here.
Hmm.
I don't know,
well, then it should be designated as the same thing
Well-
as a hamlet. So it has its own zoning.
But that's not how it's currently zoned. It's basically currently zoned almost identically, it looks like,
Yeah,
to like a lower, I'm not saying low
Right.
density, lower density. Because it's not allowing businesses, it's not allowed. The only things it's allowing permitted uses are single family in their accessory dwellings and two family residents in their accessory dwellings.
Right.
So if somebody wanted to open a coffee shop,
They can't.
they can't. I mean, I hate to say it, it's not functioning like Hamlet anymore. It's very different from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It's a historic neighborhood actually at this point.
well, then if we leave it the way it is, anybody can build anything they want there
well.
in the way
this
of,
is Land use,
excuse me?
land use.
Right, so the zone, if,
Then the zoning could.
So the
we think
zoning
what the
that-
zoning's ultimately gonna get changed to.
but you can the zoning that's in place today is compatible with the character area that's shown on this. on
Right,
this screen.
exactly.
So when you, if you were going into gut and rewrite your zoning and you said, I want to write this Waterberg Hamlet zone back in, it would comply with the character area designation that's there today.
But it's not, you don't have it listed as a
Right? You don't have to,
hamlet,
because
So-
a hamlet is a zone.
right?
Jackson. Like specifically called out?
I thought all of that blue area, not as.
We have the
yeah,
clear,
but
we
yeah.
just, that's neighborhood mixed
Yeah,
use.
neighborhood mixed use.
We don't call Jacksonville out. We
Right.
don't call, right.
Because neighborhood mixed use would allow for a development that looks and feels a lot like a hamlet.
Right.
Like it
And
does today.
we previously had Waterberg in a similar fashion. The residents said they don't want that. It
Okay,
seems to me like low density residential is
The
fine.
same thing.
So I don't think we need to worry about historic or legacy or anything in the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, right.
This goes
Sorry.
on most point and what I raised, bringing it up for the residents who have come and contacted us subsequently about it. So I will move and people can vote it as they want, that subsequent supposed to be making motions, right?
Sure.
That area becomes Hamlet, Waterberg Hamlet, so that when we go to right zoning, it's recognized that we think in the future, this is different than those other low density areas, and so it would be considered differently. So I guess I'm moving that we get I don't know, a legacy Hamlet, historic Hamlet, whatever
And I let the,
you want, but
yeah,
that's
thank you.
my
I
motion.
let the horse out of the barn a little bit because we had a live motion on the floor. So
Oh,
Carl, are you?
I'm sorry,
you're-
I didn't
Go with her.
realize that.
Much
Carl.
You're
better
withdrawing.
developed,
So then
yes.
can I ask a
No.
clarifying question on your motion? What would be the defining characteristic of a Waterberg Hamlet?
well, first, what is the definition of a hamlet?
That's where I'm going.
We could use what we have in the current.
Well, what is it? What is the definition of a hamlet?
You're saying that it doesn't, that's not what.
You have
it
it?
is.
Right.
just-
Okay,
I have the Waterberg
Other
one.
things there.
I mean, I didn't look Hamlet. Well, the Waterberg Hamlet zone is to provide opportunities for village and hamlet scale residential development to serve the varied housing needs of the residents while preserving the historical nature of the town. The zone encouraged development of the town's hamlets while providing the town and its residents of the zone the ability to assert reasonable controls over development. In the designated zone that is consistent with the comprehensive plan, the historic nature of the zone and organized and logical, it's residential development. That's all this is.
Uh-huh.
I take the stand that that's not what a hamlet is.
Yeah, okay, so what
So
is a
I think
hamlet?
there's a,
And that's not what they want.
right,
They made it
yeah,
very clear, they don't want that.
yeah,
So they don't want a hamlet.
So
They
the,
want res-
should
Just,
the,
they want just their houses with it.
what else we might write, this is what the current comprehensive plan, 2009, better or worse, says. That now is a hamlet residential district. The intent is to provide opportunities for village and hamlet scale residential to serve the varied housing needs of town residents while preserving the historic character. The goal is to encourage appropriate redevelopment of the town's hamlets. An H2 hamlet residential district has been defined in the vicinity of Waterburg.
But they
So-
keep using the word hamlet. If it's not a hamlet,
Right.
then you
Right.
shouldn't use that wording.
And Jacksonville's a different one. It's the H1 hamlet district because they talk about that one for pedestrian oriented commercial development.
Oh,
Like
that's
kind of
different.
like
Oh,
what mixed use is more now. But the, so I
Totally
think the
applies.
residential one was, that was the concept in the past comprehensive. Or whatever it's worth.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm not,
I mean, it's still up in the air.
All right, so we have a motion now. Is there a second to that motion to create a Waterbury Hamlet character area? Is there a second?
I will second it to get a discussion. And
We
I
have a second.
think
Sorry.
I guess we need to define whether. Or just decide whether we want a hamlet to be considered what a hamlet is. Which to me is mixed use, not just residential, and how that applies versus Jacksonville to Waterbury.
Right, so that's a definition of a hamlet.
So we need to include a definition of a hamlet.
No.
If you create a character area, you'll have to create a definition of that character.
Exactly, yeah.
so I would clarify that I am in favor of the residents of that neighborhood identifying themselves as Jacksonville or the Waterbury hamlet. I don't, but from a land use regulation standpoint, I don't think it's appropriate. So I'm
Yeah,
not
right.
besmirching the historical nature of that area or criticizing any of that. I'm simply saying I don't think it rises to the level of needing a character area because all they want to be is just residential and we
Neighborhood.
already have a zone
Mhm.
that's doing that for them.
So
So
you-
that's why I will vote no, not because I have any.
The passage you read is kind of the intended description of in the zoning code. Is that what you were reading
I was reading directly from our current zoning code.
in the current zoning code? Under allowable use, because I want to go back to
It's all residential.
a point that Mo made. Could somebody come in this afternoon and put up a house with vinyl siding right down the
Absolutely.
middle of the road? Yeah.
Right, yeah, they can.
So under the current zoning. Like back to where we started, under the current zoning, the low density residential designation applies.
Mm.
It aligns with what's there today. All right, so we have a motion, a second, or is there further discussion?
Well, the discussion would be, are we,
Yes.
No, I feel like I'm thinking about it backwards. I'm like, wait a minute, say it again.
So
I'm like
basically,
upside down in my thinking right
the
now.
motion would be to create a special character land use zone effectively.
but not a hamlet,
Character area
Not a
for this particular area.
right?
If you think that that needs to happen, you vote yes. If
Okay.
you think that as proposed on the map in low density, it's appropriate to keep it residential, then you vote no. Those are
Thank you.
But it would not be called a hamlet.
Well,
No,
Yeah, it can call
We'll
it.
call it-
the proposal is that it be called a.
This is on the future land use map.
Yeah.
So we're not calling it out as a hamlet on the future land use map, in the same way we're not calling out Jacksonville. There are
Right.
no hamlets on the map, it doesn't change whether or not historically they've been a hamlet. This
Right.
is just a future land use map.
Well,
Yeah.
just the wording, if you use the word hamlet, now we get into a different
Right,
definition.
Exactly, that's, I think
I
that's.
just want to make sure it's not going to be,
I don't wanna go down that path.
Right.
Right, exactly.
I'll note, the motion on the floor is to create a character area called Waterbury Hamlet.
oh, no.
That's
So,
what the motion is.
so we have a,
But the people that have come to the meeting want it to stay what it is.
which
So
you
what
can
it
do
is-
under this current.
Which means you would, if we want to follow what the people want, which is for it to stay what it is, then we're supposed to vote no on that, so it can be what it is.
I would say in either case, it can stay what it is. The zoning today in Waterbury matches the land use character area that's on this map right now.
Okay,
So you would be adding a designation that effectively says the same uses apply and some language around and now I'm filling in blanks for you, Roxanne, you can stop me when you want, but the language would maybe more closely reference the 2009 comprehensive plan. I'm sorry, the existing comprehensive plan, which goes into historic patterns and those kinds of things. I would presume we would substitute the language that's in the plan currently. So just for clarity, for your sake, I know it's starting to buzz around.
Yeah.
For clarity, the residents of the hamlet today have suggested that the development patterns that exist in the hamlet. Yeah,
Are we just talking about this area? Just, yep,
Yeah.
we're not talking about this yet.
No.
No.
Just that area.
okay.
Yeah.
So the best way to clarify it is that the hamlet zoning that's in place today is aligned with the future land use map as currently presented. It's the best way I can say it.
Yeah.
So, call the question, all in favor of creating a hamlet district there? Any,
Residents have very strongly
Yes.
called me and told me, so.
any opposed, all
Move
opposed?
forward.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain. I'm confused still. 'Cause
I know, maybe I should use.
I don't know if we have I don't think we have a majority. There's a lot of abstentions.
It all has to do
No, we
with.
don't have a majority either way.
Yeah, no,
And the definition.
I'm with you guys on that, but I'm hearing
Told people.
one
I would
person
bring that
or
forward.
No,
one
no.
say, this is what the people
That's what
want,
we're
and then
supposed to
Roxanne
do.
saying, but no, that's not what the people
Well,
want.
that's where
Well,
I'm confused too. So that's where I feel like
People,
I heard the people here. I want to support that decision,
right,
but I'm still, I don't
Well, 'cause
feel
we're
super
talking
solid
about
on like whether
land
right
use
yes or no.
versus-
Right.
Right.
Like, so they're
Feels like
not
both of them
talking
are
about
correct.
land, yeah, so the land use, right, we're honoring, it's still gonna be the same type of land use.
Okay.
If we don't designate a specific separate historical or whatever
Hamlet.
hamlet
Right.
thing, right,
Right.
like. I would argue, like, if we're doing a historical thing, I would love Willow Creek to be historic, right, like, there's, like, we could go
Sure,
down that rabbit
sure.
hole. So
No.
they don't want, like, they don't want development. And the land use that we're proposing for the future and what the current zoning is aligned with their vision. Of what the future, without having to call it out as a designated hamlet.
Right.
And the original concerns, when we had it designated in the same way as the other hamlet, were, hey, you're calling for, and one of the gentlemen who spoke rattled off a bunch of allowable uses that were in there that were commercial in nature, and that's why we pulled off that commercial mixed use.
Right.
That's why we did it differently than.
Just residential, which is.
so that's the only difference is that it could be commercialized.
So my vote was no, and then I heard Roxanne say, but I want what the people want. So then I was like, wait,
Me too.
abstained.
But they didn't-
I was like, wait, I want
He
to.
does, and we're interpreting it different ways. I'm bringing forward what
So
I heard and was asked. But
with
other
that
people have different ways of
clarification,
looking at it.
I am voting no.
Yes, they didn't want it commercialized. They didn't want to have, a Dunkin' Donuts there or a McDonald's. So the only way to do that is what we just did. So now now it stays the way it is.
And to be clear, the future zone, like if the residents come when they go through zoning, they might keep the exact same zoning with the exact same name, doesn't prevent the zoning actually from changing. Because the current zoning will affirm our current, our proposed future land use map. So literally nothing could change. It could be just all the same and everybody can high five, because I think when we go through the town zoning update, there will be areas where there's actually not going to be any real changes.
Mhm.
Because everything's in compliance and the community is happy and that neighborhood is happy with it. So
Yeah.
this is preserving literally what they have right now that they seem happy with.
Right. Okay.
And
That's
does
what I
not put them in
want to-
conflict.
I just want to go.
It is an expanded area, I will just say, quite expanded.
Check that off.
What it was, so.
So we
didn't
I'd like to
vote.
call that question again because there were like fluttering abstentions and half hands. So so we had a motion and a second, all in favor of the motion to create that Waterberg designation. Roxanne, all opposed.
Abstain.
Well, we'll talk, you and I will talk about it.
I know I missed.
No. I want to make sure that you're not abstaining because you don't understand
I completely understand. I am abstaining because I made the second motion, so I can't vote no.
Okay. Well, sure you can, absolutely
It's
can.
Robert's rules, right? Isn't it? That's.
You have to vote for it if you second it? I don't know.
Well, I've heard the town
Um,
attorney says you really shouldn't second something unless you're planning to
Yeah,
vote.
I believe in that because that creates unnecessary discussion. If the only person who seconds it, but
That's why, that's why I'm abstaining. I fully understand the discussion and I appreciate the discussion. That's the reason I'm abstaining.
okay.
I'm wielding the pen, I already.
Yes.
All right, so the rest of these.
Did we do
Well,
Sawmill?
We did do Sawmill, that's good.
Did I fail to sign
I-
that?
Oh, yeah, check that off.
To the generation.
All right, so we blew past the break, yeah.
Can we just ask if people
Okay.
need 5 minutes?
Does anybody, everybody need 5 minutes?
Should we get up and stretch?
Let's
We'll
do
do it, yeah. Come back fresh and happy.
They
I'm
actually
just stand up.
Making progress.
We are.
wanna piggyback right? I'm happy to get you.
Oh, I thought you were saying that like
No,
not
I'm
affirmative.
No, no,
I was like,
No, we're you guys are killing it.
Be nice to go outside.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Will you take the?
I'll find something. Sure, I'll try to find something nice.
So the two that,
I can also jump on the Zoom when I get in my car.
okay, the two that we've got, I think these two here are,
Which one?
are two big monsters. One is just monsters, a big funky conversation. One is the expanse and definitions around medium density residential. So trimming up where medium density residential is, or expanding it, presumption, but changing the boundaries of the medium density residential as it stands and defining it better, getting a tighter definition around it. Or second option is the ag sorry, Roxanne, give it to me. Rural, ag and rural, thank you. The rural and low density residential question. Your call.
Well, I think personally, I think it makes sense to start with the rural merging because it may just make the other decision a lot easier.
Let's start. Roxanne, will you tee it up for us?
Yeah, I mean. Actually,
I know they're really connected, but.
no, I know, and I thought that originally when I said at the last meeting, but now. But then in thinking about that and reading a lot more with regard to this. I guess they're both big things, but. Cause I originally raised this and said, well, that might be what I would suggest to change this to. But I'm gonna suggest, here we go, really radical. What else is new? That area, all of this that comes down around here, that goes up here. Partly up here, yeah, where Mayo Road is and stuff, goes up here along South Street and Rabbit Run.
Can I press pause just really quickly? There are two issues at hand, I think.
You can erase too.
One is,
Yeah, that's why the plexiglass.
one
You
is,
can wipe off, you can.
I just want to make sure we're talking about the right issue. One is, do we need both of those character areas?
Yeah, but I feel like, okay,
Do we need
we
both
can
of which
talk about
character?
that separate, but it doesn't now, all I'm saying is it doesn't now connect
Okay.
to what I raised at the end of the last meeting. When I made that double proposal that was just too much, I understood that, but it doesn't connect to that anymore.
Okay.
Because I want to suggest that this area that comes up around here and that encompasses a bit of what some people have spoken about, Nancy Taylor and others, becomes a part of a resource conservation. And that we add in, because it's all huge natural area stuff, and I've got maps and all kinds of argument for that. But we can talk about this first. I
Okay.
just want to say that it doesn't impact that in my overall proposal anymore.
Okay, so let's talk about.
Huh? Which
Well,
one are we doing first? I don't care, whatever you want.
Whatever makes the most sense, like I,
Let's talk about
based on that.
collapsing the character areas. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, so, and I hope we can make it to the other ones and. Or, I'm gonna wait, but she can hear it. While she's driving, yeah, so, I mean, I think I've said all the reasoning that I feel like we should collapse these character areas into one concept character area. Again, it just keeps going back to, well, it shows what's there, but the rest of this map, we go back and forth all the time about what's there, what's not there, what we want in the future. So it's kind of a non-rigid definition that we're using of what's there and what's not there. And then with regard to the issue of opportunity, or that this gives more opportunity than combining the two, I have thought about that a lot, and I still talk to some other people who are planners. I still struggle to understand why that's the case, because again, this has happened because there's been this amount of opportunity anyway. You could still do those things. We would craft a zoning that fit this character area, and it would have to allow agriculture to put residential housing on it. It would have to. I just absolutely so strongly believe from past experience that there's no way you could designate this amount of agricultural land in this town and not allow people to develop it. And as Liz had suggested, and we don't want it all developed, and we want to protect it. And that is the big challenge. It's been the challenge since 2005. So, and it's hard because it's a small town and people want to be able to do what they want with their land, but they also want to be able to preserve agricultural land. And I'm a little concerned if these become then zones, or seem like they might become zones, because we're saying that's what we want them to be, then that another point that Matt made about raising the cost of agriculture of land, raising your property value. If that seems like, well, this is all area that really should be developed more densely residentially than this, it's going to raise the price of agricultural land, and that is already a huge barrier to people being able to do smaller level farming already. I heard that from people I know that farm try to do smaller things. So I feel like we have a cohesive area. We work hard on that. It doesn't change the opportunity that anybody has just because this little triangle or that little box there is designated something different. It's more cohesive, and it makes more sense in a future zoning planning perspective.
Can I ask go ahead, so.
So I was just gonna say that I think it's really, you have to be careful about saying changing opportunities, because right now, and I have gone back through the minute, when the town board in 2019 adopted the new zoning, I have yet to find a conversation in public that was had about the fact that the town adopted regulations that restrict subdivisions, regardless of the size of parcel, to 3 total in perpetuity. That's what current zoning in the agricultural zone is. That's a huge restriction on.
Yeah.
That's a huge restriction. So the idea that you're saying, well, development can still happen, yeah, maybe not. Not if it's considered agricultural. So I think that existing in the town zoning right now, and I have talked to people who had large properties and wanted to be able to subdivide off 10 acres to pay their bills, be locked into they're no longer capable of doing it. And they ended up selling up bigger chunks than they wanted to.
So just a quick clarifying question, because I didn't do the parliamentary thing and get the motion second, but I want to ask a clarifying question based on the change that was made to rural residential. The change that was made to rural residential, as a refresher, was that we eliminate the reference to 7 acres, right? So currently, says something along the lines of, got it up here. Go. Dang it, I was just looking at it. But it references lots. Oh, yeah, there it is. Established primarily rural residential, established primarily to accommodate single detached residential development, primarily on or adjacent to lots less than 7 acres in area, and not in agricultural use. We just struck that lots less than 7 acres in area and not in active agricultural use. So when you strike that, I'll also note that again, we took out the residential density stuff, but we left area undeveloped in there, which is interesting. So in the ag district, or I'm sorry, the ag character area undeveloped by buildings exceeds 95%. You know, so on a given lot, it would exceed 95%. But the rural residential is it only goes down by 10%. So rural residential, it says not to exceed or should exceed, green area should exceed 85%. Right? And so my question for you all is, based on that change we made, what's the land use difference between what's happening in the ag and what's happening in rural residential? One thing is, in ag, we allow for large scale farming. Under the current, we can change all of this, by the way. In ag, we allow for large scale farming. In rural residential, we don't allow. We specifically say small scale farming. So it seems like a step towards family farms, and we don't specify lot size anymore, but smaller lots, right? So so aside from that, large scale farming versus small scale farming, with the changes we made to ag this morning and the changes we made to rural residential this morning, what's the difference now?
I don't know, but I wanted to speak to, and now I've kind of forgotten, but.
Sorry.
I'm saying, no, that's okay, but with regard to the 3 lots, the subdivision thing in the zoning, I don't remember, I wasn't on the town board then. But, that might be what the zoning is now. I mean, my point is, it still is one cohesive area, and then we can think to change the zoning, but it really speaks to, if you want to protect, I mean, the hugest thing, one of the hugest things people wanted in this town was to protect agriculture. And so if we want to protect agriculture, saying that anywhere, anybody can divide up whatever they want, it doesn't protect agriculture. So we need a cohesive way to do that. And I just can't imagine how if we wanted the zoning to follow this, how we make a zone that, like, this one here is that, and then this one is here is different, and this one is 7 acres in small farming. I also don't understand how we as a town can possibly say you can do large scale farming here and you can only do small scale farming there. I mean, people might want to do small scale farming on part of their big parcel, or we can't dictate that. It's all a Tompkins County ag zone. So I feel like it's all Tompkins County ag zone. It's interspersed use. We need to have one zoning that works for what the goals are of the town, and carry on, keep trying to do better than we have now. We're now seeing what issues are and what problems are. That's the point of relooking at things. I just find this, and I think it sets up for people like, well, this person's going to want to come and say, well, hey, why is mine there? I want it to be changed to that. We're going to have, 1,000 applications for people changing one little parcel.
So your
Liz,
recommendation,
sorry.
what you're saying in a
Yeah,
nutshell
is
is
to-
to have it be the one thing and have it be merged and not be.
Have it be rural residential and agriculture, natural, whatever you want to call it, merging the things that are allowed in the 2 descriptions.
Before we go much farther, can we get a second
That's
to
my
that proposal? Hearing none. Does anybody want to offer?
I don't know what is actually happening.
Yeah.
I don't know
what I did.
So, yeah, so Liz, you had your hand up, sorry.
So I can second it. Is that what we need to open the discussion? And then that person, if I vote for, I'd have to vote for it, or I have to abstain. I can't vote for it. That's it. I mean, that's that.
Seconded.
So
Okay.
the guidance from the attorney, I wasn't privy to, but the.
No, that's just on the town boards.
That's on town
But I'm
board
just
specific.
Oh, okay.
following
Yeah.
on it.
This is an advisory committee.
Yeah.
So.
So you can second it and vote no.
Okay, well, I'll second it.
Okay.
Make a conversation.
So I think I'm gonna try to get this succinct. I see a big difference between the rural residential. I don't see a big difference, but I see a clear distinction between rural residential and agricultural lands. And I think that by calling them out differently, land use reflects what is there, and there's probably going to be what's there in the next 20 years. My house is not gonna be full farmland. I'll just keep using that because I can personally talk about it. The property next to us is ag land. That's most likely gonna be in ag land for the next 100 years. It's family land. So I personally feel very different between that there's a distinction between the rural residential and the ag land. But I don't think that having those designations different on this future land use area map will make those two different areas zoning. They could still be the same zoning, and we had this table from Niels that had prepared that had all the different character areas that we had, and then what their potential, how they would fall under our current zoning designations. Now, again, this could be changing because we haven't done zoning, but just right now, agricultural land use, agricultural and natural resources lands, rural residential, both would fall under our current agricultural rural zone. So they would end up in a zone together, but they could still be distinguished as separate land uses. So that's why I feel they can remain separate.
But what is the value of doing it? Can you explain the
To
value?
recognize what's there.
But it's not, it doesn't recognize everything that's there right now, does it? And
I think
the
it does a
other
better,
ones
I think
don't
it does a good
recognize
job.
what's there. They say what we want in the future. The orange areas do not recognize
not what
what's
we're
there
talking
now.
about. All right, so wait, if we
Oh,
could
I'm
just
just
do,
saying,
if we
we're
could
talking
just do
about-
one at a time,
Okay.
so we can all hear.
I was
what
talking
he's
about a
got.
policy of outlining what's there now, and I'm saying that I don't see that that's consistent across this whole map right now, or even within the ag versus yellow, light yellow.
And as a note to that, that's one factor of how the tile changes color, right? One factor is what's there now. Other factors are the goals of the plan, et cetera, so.
So, what else did you want to?
No. I was just bringing this map, this table.
In the plan, as the planning board, the more sections we have, the harder it gets. Because if somebody comes in and wants to subdivide or whatever, it depends on what section they're in. In my view, it would be easier just to make it all one and then do the zoning as we see fit. It just makes it easier for us, because right now it is difficult if somebody comes up and they're in the yellow, but they want to subdivide, they can't subdivide, even no matter what the lot is, no matter how big it is.
Opposite, actually.
Can I ask a clarifying question about that? Because right now, 85% of the town outside the village is in the agricultural zone.
Yeah,
It is always going to need to be more specific, and I think the
Yeah.
public has been very clear they want more specificity. I am not gonna vote in favor of this simply because I think taking a broad swath to consolidate. Willow Creek, to me, you have very much persuaded me that the future of Willow Creek is very different than just agriculture. And that's what's being reflected. And so, I was also persuaded by Carl demonstrating that the vast majority of subdivisions in agricultural lands happen pre-2000. So there's gonna be a limit on what naturally can be developed anyway, if we're not doing massive subdivisions. We're not seeing a bunch of subdivisions. Tompkins County housing character or housing information came out. We are averaging in the last decade, we're averaging 7 new houses a year, and that's including replacements of existing homes. Our development has been very low, and the number one thing listed in the comprehensive plan survey in dissatisfaction is housing affordability. You don't build, you don't have, prices go up. That's just gonna be the nature of it. So I think to this point, I think having I'm philosophically more in line with going back to how the town was operating in 2005, 2013 with some distinctions, more distinctions. And I think, and I said this before the town adopted the zone, because I was on the planning board. Not all agricultural land should be treated equally, because it's not all equal. It doesn't mean the soils might not be great. I'm not saying anything about soil quality. I'm simply saying where it's located in the town is largely going to determine whether or not it's going to be developed. Southwestern part of the town, not likely for residential development in any functional way. So I would be selectively willing to look at moving to agriculture and getting more green in that location. Willow Creek, people want to live over on Willow Creek, and that's what they're doing.
but there's no land on Willow Creek.
Yet if they were in the residential zone, we could do more subdivision. If they were in a more residential, not agriculture, they could actually be more subdivisions that would allow density of housing over there, where people clearly are seeing they want to live.
Okay.
Well, obviously, I would be against that because I live on Willem.
You're for a willow.
Yeah, I guess I'm just getting confused because I thought we, I don't know, tabled or I don't know. I thought it was part of like the character versus
This is like
individual.
fifth-
lot.
No, this is a different discussion, right? So
I know, but like, I think like the concept, right, is the same, right? Like if we merge it all into one color, we're effectively not doing that individual lot thing anymore. So like, right?
No, we still have it drawn on the map. We still have all the lots left on the map. It's like the current lot map is underlying whatever the colors are.
But if they're the same color, then it's.
But I thought
effectively the same
that
thing.
that conversation was just whether all the properties are outlined on any future.
Right, so
land
just to
map.
say,
That was-
that was what was resolved. What isn't
Right.
resolved is, I love the way you phrase that. Farmland isn't farmland, right? One farm lot is different than another farm lot, is different than a third. So what this appears to be trying to reflect is what's happening on the ground today, what the potential is to happen in the future. And, effectively addressing things like goals like housing, et cetera, while balancing with agriculture. So. Right.
Just go back to, it's just not cohesive. I mean, even what Caitlin just said, you have grouped areas or something, okay, but this is not cohesive. It's just outlining
But you can,
like properties, and it doesn't reflect exactly what's on the ground right now. It doesn't.
But-
It doesn't.
again,
And
that's one
you
flavor.
said we should- Like the names of what's here in commercial and development districts, because they're not gonna be there like tomorrow, maybe, or in 5 years. Well, what's to say that these are gonna be like this then? This could be something different, this could be something different. I don't understand the disconnect between what's there now, even if it's all a smattering that's uncohesive, versus other places where we say, this is what we want in the future instead. I just
Well,
don't
and that-
So it's
understand.
all, so, okay, so we can, I wanna make sure we're, Kim, if you have anything, or Carl.
Well, if you look in the lower right corner down there, the 2005 zoning, the orange areas mixed in with the yellow out there are very close to the yellows that are in with the green now. The same thing was in the 2013 zoning. They very distinctly, and the only reason they all disappeared in the 2019 zoning is they took what was allowed in the ag area and what was allowed in the rural residential and made them one ag rural residential. They was word for word what's allowed in there is the way it was combined in 2019. So all it did was essentially blended the oranges into the yellows for all those areas out there. They're the same thing we've got sitting there now, the same blocks of areas and the rest of the stuff. Those houses out there in the farm area have been there. Most of them from 1950 to 2000 is when they were broken free from the farmlands. The few that we've converted since 2000 are, we put in 225 new houses across the entire town since the year from 2001 to 2025. And they are like you backed up with a shotgun with small bird pellets in it and took a shot at the town map. They are scattered across the entire town. There is no concerted development anywhere. So for the farmlands out there, the houses are where the houses have been. That's not significantly changing.
And to the point about like the adaptability of this to zoning, right? That was a question.
Yeah,
How are you ever gonna create a zoning map that looks kind of like this? There it is.
yeah.
It's done. When we look at the scatters all through here. It's not identical, but it's very close. I think it was Carl's point.
So then the town got grants and had studies done by consultants and everybody looking at like, what do we have? What's happening? Does the zoning align with the comp plan? What's currently happening and all? And that is how the 20, and then the town board made their decisions based on the recommendations of that consultant. And that committee, by the way, one of those consultants is the housing person for the county now. And that is how it got changed to that. The town made an active effort to hire consultants to do a study to look at how it matched with the the comp plan and the development pattern and the number of them and all. I mean, it wasn't just kind of weirdly willy-nilly, people came along and embraced colors.
But you're the,
I
you're,
just want to give
Everybody's saying-
history.
right, and you're back at the
That's
top of the.
why it's like that.
But you're back at the top of the order. What's happening now is you're having a conversation about what the future of the town should look like. And if the conversation were to flow and it were to go back this way, that doesn't mean it's wrong. That just means that the tenor and the ideology of the town has shifted again. It shifted before and it can shift again,
And it will shift in the future again.
continue to evolve.
Um,
So the question at hand is to collapse the two, to collapse the two land use character area
Or maybe
designations.
most of it, maybe people appreciate different, but in that, is smattering in the very agricultural.
So those are
areas.
two different questions. We can definitely have another conversation about what turns green.
Exactly. I'm in favor of that. I'm not in favor, I won't vote for this motion, but I am in favor of that one. of
Yeah.
having-
So for the question of do we need green and yellow, is there further discussion?
Oh, I thought I was suggesting what should turn green, I'm sorry. I'm confused.
So we're first
So
deciding.
the motion, but before we go, the motion on the floor was to collapse the two districts, the two character areas. That was your original motion. Is that?
So we're gonna say no to that, so we can have the green and the yellow, and then we're gonna go decide what's green and what's yellow.
Yes, exactly.
So the motion on the table is to collapse rural residential with agricultural.
Correct. Is there further discussion on that motion? All right, all in favor? Any opposed?
Because I don't.
yeah, I wanna be the person.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think. I mean, if I need to abstain, that's. but-
You don't.
No, you're
No.
good. I feel like.
Well, I think it was worth doing at the bit, like, we did it and the
Yeah.
50,000 foot view, and now we need to get a little closer and see if there's what needs to possibly change.
I voted no, because I just don't think we need that in residential categories in the town, but. But that's just me, that's fine.
So Roxanne, you
Just
had,
saying for the public record.
Yeah, yeah.
why I voted
Yeah.
no.
you had a proposal on the
Yeah,
floor to make some changes.
yes.
Just wanna make sure we got the right.
Why I wasn't struck by it.
All right, you wanna suggest some
I think I'd
colors?
like to see all of this,
Do you wanna use the mark?
doesn't matter.
Maybe for the folks that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be helpful for
Yeah.
them
Take-
to understand.
There's a
That,
here.
yeah, that's a dry ease version.
I mean, this might not be, you
No,
know,
that's
perfect
fine.
detail, but. I don't know so much about that. Here, I guess, but. Yeah, I mean, I guess just for cohesiveness. I'd like to see all, I mean, and I'm not, you know, again, do we do a fat marker blob or are we outlining the parcels, whatever? B. All that, whatever, B1. Maybe even, maybe actually. This, because it. Is all the same. I mean, there's a lot of houses there, but the rest of it is very agricultural. That's my point. I would
Can
definitely,
can we keep it as narrow as you can initially, just so we can have
it's hard. I mean, I just don't remember exactly what's there.
I'm just saying, before you go northeast, can we talk about southwest? Yeah, just so we don't lose people on one versus the other.
So you're moving that?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll second that.
with the fat marker line, that might not be exactly detailed.
We have a motion and a second discussion?
So your proposal is to move all of that.
To
To
ag.
agriculture.
And rural, and we'd have to rewrite the definition maybe a little bit more. To add some of the rural res language in.
So I had a clarifying question. How far down does that water line run on Swan College? That would be for me where do we have a
It-
map of that on it?
It's
It-
the water district maps are over there.
It only goes down
Goes one
to,
block.
Not even one block.
yeah, it
It's
gets,
the,
it gets a few houses beyond
It does go west.
the park.
It does go
That's
west.
about it. It's very short.
Okay.
Far, right when it's about to go up the
The
hill.
one,
it's
the one
down.
in your left hand, Matt. That's it. Caitlin, that shows you exactly where it stops. Right near the center of it, you'll get Swamp College.
Okay. Well, that's a terminus.
That's the end of it, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So that's gonna be right where? See. Hold on, see.
Right about where Roxanne came across.
Yeah,
Very close, yeah.
We do have a problem.
Like from a town's perspective, that you would admit. We have, I think we have a terminus there, which is problematic. The what, so what I mean with
Yeah.
terminus, we just have a
A
leg
stub
sticking
in,
out.
A dead end mean.
So, I think I would like to see it maybe move. If you would be amenable to it, to moving this, moving the line here, Roxanne, I would. And the reason being is I would like to not be stuck on a map with a terminus that causes problems for us, like keeping that water flowing, and if there may be a future where it either more people on the line or connecting that line somewhere, we might want to think about that. So I would only suggest pulling it around this personally, a little bit farther down. I would argue that this very much is a lot more rural, and even this is a lot more rural, but pulling this into this, putting it into this side, let's do this side. That would be my.
It's a friendly amendment, Roxanne. Would you
I mean,
accept
I
that?
don't think the water should dictate that. We already have water and we have stuff anyway, but sure, if you wanna do that, that's fine. If you want it down here.
Well,
Yeah.
especially if it limits the ability, if not, if keeping it all ag would limit the ability to make the connection.
It's not all ag.
I don't
I'm
know.
proposing that it's
Or-
ag and residential.
As ag residential.
Residential.
Rural,
It
however
doesn't-
we define it, yeah.
Right, we say ag right now, well, then had it changed a little, but when this map was made, it
Yeah.
was only farms.
Yeah.
So, but this map was drawn this way.
No,
is what
I
I'm
understand
saying.
that.
Yep.
You know.
That's
That
fine.
All right,
big piece of-
But-
other conversation on this specific proposal? All right. There's no shot you're gonna do. You're gonna get verbiage on this, but I'm gonna take a picture of it. Even with that.
Roxanne, what was your comment about that one orange there in Perry, that on Jacksonville to Perry City? You're like, that's a big, because that's a house, I think, right now. think
Right,
it's
I
just
mean,
a
I'm
house.
happy to just draw it straight down, but I suspect there'll be.
I just wasn't sure what your argument was about that.
Well, to me, it's more cohesive if you just go straight down that way, but, yeah, there's houses there,
Where's the?
there's,
Embassy. Oh,
it's on,
That's all.
it's on Halsey Road.
Oh, sorry.
It's actually on,
Yep.
Swamp, not Swamp College, one of those, yeah, Swamp College, thank you, yeah.
But it's, I think it's where the solar farm. Isn't it?
That's my backyard. There's no solar farm.
No,
there.
where is?
There's one down, you talking about the one down?
On Jacksonville Road.
Yeah, Jackson, it's up,
That's the
it's
other
way up by
place.
Agard.
Yeah.
It's actually on Agard.
Yeah, That orange neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, my spacing is really off. Right, let's say we're just doing a big marker then, comes kind of down like that. As Matt was saying, these are areas where when you go into it, you think about what's one side, what's the other side.
You seconded that. or you-
Rural residential,
What property is?
that could
so-
be a little.
That's what I'm
I mean,
farming or. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that property is before I say that, yes on that one.
Which property,
The one where the,
She just
the
cut
fat
through.
line just cut through, yeah.
Sure, that's
That
Jan's
little
house.
marker.
I'm pretty sure, let me just think about this.
Is that little farm that it used to be Happy Farm or whatever?
So
Off of
it's
96.
north or heading out of Jacksonville, out of Hamlet towards
On your
like
right.
79.
Before you turn right on Perry City Road?
I'm gonna Google map it.
It's not on 79, it's on Jackson.
No,
I
I'm
guess I
saying,
still don't
yeah, you're going on
understand.
Jacksonville towards 79.
We
Yeah, it's on
voted
your
to
right.
do like kind of individual lots, right? We're not doing the like.
Right, so
big
this would,
picture
this
thing.
is turning all of these yellows green.
Right, so we essentially then just went back.
No,
and said-
cause you
Like
can still have out
redefining,
here.
yeah.
I mean, you-
We wanted to do.
But
it in different
really-
places.
I don't know.
Wait, finish
I,
your
I,
sentence.
I think that that is the same as that, right? Like to me, I don't know, I guess, yeah.
You'd prefer to keep the two distinction.
I mean, I just, yeah, like if we're choosing to pick color with the lots for one area, but like, I don't know, I guess just like, well, it just seems like it's all the
It
same.
is the same in the sense that, like that character area may look that way. There's some houses on what's green in the way I see it, and some houses in what's yellow. However, it's not. When, to Mo's point, or if you did look at this, if you tried to make zoning, if you tried to bring it in alignment with the comp plan, you could get a lot of pushback by having all these little outline things being a different character area and right next to each other and people wanting to pull things out and making it a lot harder for planning and BZA. So that is why I see it as different, because the character area of it is the same. And you're going to have to allow in zoning whatever housing on the green. Like not tons, but rural housing, but that's the same as the yellow is. And so to me, it's all in one character area. It gives the zoning and the planning much more flexibility to figure out like how to tweak things without having a lot of pushback and challenge.
Mo, you had something, sorry.
I just have a question. So did we change the definition of agricultural to agricultural rural?
Not yet,
No,
no,
We have not changed. What was your definition then?
no, the
All you
addition,
did
sorry. go ahead.
for agricultural was add that single and like accessory unit dwellings were
Oh, okay.
allowed. Because it
So
wasn't specifically
if we
called out.
if we change agricultural and rural and make them both together,
Which we already voted down.
we already voted.
We just
down.
voted that.
Was what, that was the previous vote.
Yeah.
Was the
So we
motion
can't
was-
change that today anyway.
Okay, because if we do that, then we don't have to worry about the yellow anymore. It's all.
I think that was Roxanne's
That
Right, so then why
But-
are we doing the?
Because
I just wanna, because I can see that folks are frustrated, but what I will tell you is now in this instance, maybe it feels weird because we're doing it in a big area, but I would imagine there are other proposals out here to say, you know what? I'm not gonna pick one. You know what? Flip this one green, flip that one green, flip that one green. That's okay for us to, since we've already settled on, we're gonna go on a parcel level. You can go to an individual parcel and say, yellow doesn't make sense here, or green doesn't make sense here. That's what the proposal is on the table right now. It just feels weird because it's in a big slot. It doesn't feel weird, it just feels different because it's in a big swath. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
also think it's really important to recognize that we're not saying that this is the perfect representation of what's on the ground necessarily. It's our best approximation at the intersection of what we know about it and some degree of density of that item. For instance, this is my friend's house, is here. It's green right now. I mean, it probably most likely should be this, but it is actually completely surrounded by commercial industrial park. So I support leaving it green like this because in practical use, it is going to continue to be surrounded by commercial. And they're not going to suggest a subdivision here of like cluster development, right? Over way in this corner. So I think that so I support moving this area to green. I won't be supporting it over here, but this is a precursor. The reason though I'm supporting of it over here is because this area has been subdivided very slowly. Housing has been occurring. It has happened, but it's occurring very slowly. I think it makes sense if we're trying to balance incentivizing increased development for housing in areas where there's public water. This area is so unlikely to receive public water in the next 20 years. It makes sense in my mind to keep it more agricultural. And so that's why I support it over here. I don't feel that way in other parts of the town. But in this part of the town, I do think that going all green is something I can support because of its development patterns that are happening. And it's not likely to have public water.
Just quickly from a logistics standpoint, I want to make sure that Ann is not relying on this
Well,
clock. It died a long time ago. It's about 5 minutes till 12, so just be careful. I didn't want you to get stuck. Yeah, just
Yes.
about.
It's not
Oh.
11:20.
I think
So-
the battery's almost dead on that.
It-
device.
Wouldn't it just be
Yeah.
easier to combine the agricultural and the rural residential into one?
So we just voted that down.
But
nearly
no, I'm
unanimously.
just saying, wouldn't it be easier because the zoning would combine both of them, so they would both be, no?
Your
I'm not
colleagues
supporting
didn't feel
that.
that way.
You can, I feel like we settled that matter.
Yeah,
already.
yeah, we
That
don't want
was
to go
what I
back.
proposed and
Or-
voted down. I think I might have been the only one who voted for it, so.
Well, because if we're gonna start picking and choosing, we're gonna be here for another year.
Right.
Well, agreed, which is why I like supervisor's point, like, be thinking about this as globally as you can be thinking, and Roxanne has a global look at it too.
Yeah.
Roxanne has a global
Yeah, I
look.
agree with you.
And so I don't know that we should spend a ton of time today or even in future meetings saying, that southwest corner of this piece of the thing really should be green. This plan will never get adopted. But when we're talking about it in these big chunky character areas, then it makes some sense. And we did it already. I mean, you saw, you flip the light on here and light off there, where there's just a clear incongruence, right?
And that to me is the only section of the town currently that is like that. So I'm not gonna be proposing modifications on the other side. I'm actually okay with keeping yellow on the other side of Route 96. So, but I really do think this is our prime large acreage of farmland is here, like in big swaths, and it's owned by a small group of large industrial farmers. Like, it's got a pretty defined character area for the next 20 years. They're not gonna be likely subdividing and selling off, so.
Further discussion on this piece, which is substantial, so I don't feel rushed, but further discussion on this piece. All right, all in favor of this as presented? I'll take a picture of it.
Wait,
This,
tell us what we're.
Just-
That's green.
turning this green.
That we're turning.
That's
That
southwest
section of the
corner.
number.
Yes, but I thought
All vote green.
I thought Matt just said we couldn't vote on that because we already voted on it.
No,
No, we can't vote on.
Consolidating the
Oh.
character definition.
Right.
Okay, okay.
We're just
thank you.
changing the color.
Okay,
we change
Sorry,
the
sorry, sorry.
This area here
What?
to all turn green. We have a motion in a second. All in favor? All opposed?
Give me a sec.
Yeah.
Just give me a sec.
I got bad news for you. You already lost. So I'm just kidding.
Well, I guess we should have a show of hands.
Yeah, we should have, because we got a little flutter. So do we need more time with this? Because we got a lot of half hands raised.
Who seconded this, Caitlin?
I'm just struggling. Overall, I get it. Like, these are mostly owned by 4 farms now. And they're always gonna most likely be there because those farms are just gonna continue. It's just that, I don't know.
What part is it concerning?
Reynolds Road and Iredell.
Iredell I can see pulling out because of accessibility in the
Not
future.
Reynolds Road, Perry City, sorry.
Oh, Perry
Not,
City.
not your.
Well, it backs up against it. It's a.
Just, I know those parcels are mostly wooded. Residential, they're not gonna be cleared for ag.
But remember,
But we have.
agriculture
yeah,
and natural resources.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
strictly ag.
my thing.
I know, it's a character area. I'm just so struggling with, well, that house won't get torn down. Well, that farm won't go away. Like, this is the vision. We don't know.
Well,
Anymore
like,
than.
my friend's house lives there, they're likely not gonna be, like, right there.
Sure, but
It's
it's parcel by parcel and say
No,
this one will.
But I'm trying to think, like, she lives right there on Perry City Road. They are not gonna be, like, that property is not gonna be.
You're talking about this yellow area here, right? This, in
Just
this
further,
cluster,
further.
this further down
Yep,
this way?
right there. Those
Okay.
long skinny ones.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, yes, with the new definition of the agriculture. Land including single family homes and the land is forested.
Yeah, this specifically
Yeah,
references
it could be.
forested lands. It's in the definition.
Right, we changed or changed that.
So anything that's across the street from the town of Ithaca on Iredell, that really could, I would support pulling that out, and keeping it in yellow, because like
That's towards,
what?
isn't that towards, the golf course, Hillendale?
Well, so the town of Ithaca completely has all public water and sewer, all their properties do. So we could theoretically ask to connect to that water line there. So, I mean, if you're talking about existing infrastructure, we don't have it on our map because it's not in us. So if you're struggling with
I can do that.
Iredell,
What's that? You
I
think
can
you're
make a
okay?
decision.
Okay.
Right.
All in favor with it as proposed? All opposed?
oh no, that's.
I know, I'm not opposed to it. I just wanna make sure I fully understand it. Part of it is because that is my neighborhood, and that is, we're talking about like my parents' property and things like that too, so I'm thinking about it a little differently. So I'm just making sure, cause
So we just made it agricultural.
Yeah.
So that's what the zoning is gonna be.
yeah. When like, with the mixed medium, the orange, is that there's water lines, right?
Orange is medium density.
Medium density.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Orange
I
would be-
apologize, the medium, right?
Yes.
And
Orange
I
is
get
thinking
that,
that
so
there's
like my
orange.
property would become part of the medium, because there is water, I have water service. So water service goes here, so I guess I get hung up on little things, like, why is this one green?
Because we just voted on it.
No, but so is this, right?
I
My
know, I don't
backyard.
think that should be orange.
So that's what I'm saying, so like this has water service, right? So in theory, that probably should be orange because it could be developed and it could become something.
But now you're starting to pick and choose.
Right,
Well,
that's what I'm
so-
trying not to do.
That, yeah, right.
But Kim, so the reason, the logic behind the orange on Route 96.
Yep.
Is because the public said they want to see development on Route 96.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
pushing
agree.
it off of the other parts that you referenced, right, isn't on 96.
I am.
Except if you're looking at like nodally, right, this
I know.
prime area for a nodal development, right? We've got water, we've got services and stuff like that. That's like, this is.
So
this
that's
is right
why
where the
it's
big
orange.
game. Right, so then. Maybe it's just this one that's confusing me.
Which one?
I think the fact that we kind of cut through.
No, I think that needs to get straight. Just
Oh,
go
I
down
thought
to-
we were just gonna make a
Yeah,
fat.
we're just going down straight.
Straight,
So it's gonna go straight that way.
which is the same as a fat line because it's not outlining.
So we need to make sure that clear.
Yeah, and we'll have a chance to modify it when it's back, but,
Okay. I'm good
all
with
right,
it.
so we can leave that with
All right.
it's the,
I just,
the folks who were opposed on that for the scribe, can you raise your hands?
Nope, I voted yes.
Oh.
I ended up switching.
So I just want to make a comment, even though I voted for yes, just to get it done. We just made that agricultural, so development is out.
No.
No,
No.
because,
Well, we just made it agricultural, so we have to go by zoning of agriculture.
no,
No, we're not talking zoning.
just.
We're just talking
We're talking
green.
land use.
And what agricultural, for the purposes of land use today, is
Yeah,
single
I
family
realize that.
development.
Oh, I realize that.
Or two-family
Two-family.
development, ADUs, ACU, or ADUs, all of those things are allowed and you
Home
can zone.
businesses,
So
So why don't we do the rest of the town that way?
I think there are other areas.
We've
that
already
are-
voted that.
where other types of development are more appropriate. You're not gonna get,
That's what I was saying.
you're not gonna get. Not so, like.
It's just getting
Average
more
everyone.
and more confusing. Every minute I sit here, it gets more and more confusing.
Well, I think,
Well, I don't wanna revisit the decision at this point,
Right,
if we can stand not to, because we have 1 hour.
right.
I want everybody to take your 5 minutes, go stretch your legs, ponder this. But we have 1 hour. I want to make sure that we haven't touched orange yet. We need to talk about orange.
Well, it's a mishmash of outlining little things that are there now, assuming they will or will not ever change. And then saying that there's other areas where, oh, we really think this is gonna change, even though it's not what is there now. That to me is the confusing thing about how we are making this map.
So,
I
but
think all of
And
the
the
things
lack
have
of
to be considered.
Cohesiveness in, yeah, but when you're making character.
so what I'll point out is we just made a major change. Like this is a movement toward what Roxanne was proposing.
I'm-
So
I'm not complaining, I'm saying that's why I find it still very confusing. I'm sympathizing with that.
Let's take the.
take a break. Yeah, take 5 minutes.
So
It's getting way too.
driving
for me.
factors behind it. are very
Oh.
confusing. But I have.
No.
No, don't collapse anything. Yeah, just
Because
agriculture.
once you get to
Convert.
Law Road and essentially east of that,
Yeah.
Don't collapse anything.
It's not bad.
there are pieces that still look like ag land. But other than for the old chicken ranch. when they put it in Copper City and-
But it's thinking my wife, like I'm praying for rain all day, because I'm inside, I want to see.
As we go along, now with the planning board, somebody's
Yeah,
gonna
it really
come up and
was.
say
I did it.
this, and we're gonna have to figure out what is it? Are we
I gotta
gonna
go
allow
deep
it?
tomorrow.
Is it what's the?
Oh, yeah, all of
is-
you can
is
erase
this
anything
different
up there.
than
now.
This,
I don't see the zoning
I
significantly
think next
changing.
week. I gotta go.
oh, I do,
Meeting next
not
week.
now, but it will. That's why just doing the whole thing in one shot, much easier for everybody.
It's different now, so, yeah.
What's on your docket the rest of the day?
You started
Nice
to
people
draw
to watch my
Oh, yeah.
last game.
along her stuff.
What's it, this side?
Well, she's been proposing.
I gotta go to DC tomorrow, the rest of the week.
We'll bring them.
Packed. So, you know the
county.
You know the cogs, like the Regional Planning Council, they have a national conference, all of them get together.
Be at the Washington Hilton.
I'm gonna be at the, Arlington.
Oh, Arlington Hilton. Yeah, I was gonna say the Washington Hilton. So.
Any,
Yeah, the food should be
like
on it. So
a
you're-
natural
The cherry blossoms
resource
are awesome.
area or something
They are.
like that.
But that's, if we change
Yeah.
it to agricultural,
everything
rural,
will
get rid of the natural.
It's supposed to be high 70s.
Rural.
It'll be
is what I need here of everything.
It would
Because then
bring
all
it
these
over
parcels
flat
will be
there.
the same.
I had a trip to Texas that got
That's why
canceled
I
because
asked if
of
we changed
weather
that
here. I had a
district
trip to South Carolina that got canceled because they got snow. I haven't seen the sun since like October.
It's really not, when I had a really hard time, because I grew up in Southern California mostly, and Utah, and it's very sunny.
This gray.
Yeah.
I had a real hard time
This
when I was
natural
settled in
features,
professionally.
Right.
and I
Sort of
was-
follows
it
along
was like,
organic creek.
You have to
coming
plan
up
it for
there.
February.
Is
Like,
It's true.
absolutely,
Make the
so.
whole
you live
thing,
here, you
the
have to
rabbit
go
on
out
and
that,
all
like,
the rest of that that's
right?
developed,
And I, like,
those
did
Yeah.
it's not gonna go away.
couple months ago, I was like, I'm.
Well,
still
this area,
my-
anything along the shore.
Thank you for telling me that, because I needed that coping strategy.
My first, so I moved here from Georgia. My
Conservation
first-
zone and the lake shore. And those
Three,
two are gonna
well, I'll
stay.
just say my first,
But it's this
St. Patrick's
wall
Day here
Essentially across here. that
Yeah.
you
was
kind of-
75 and sunny.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
St. Patrick's
Yeah.
Day. And I
Well, I
thought,
really don't.
because
blame
at home it would be the same way.
It is.
It's over.
natural.
No.
And then 2 days later, I was like,
Unfortunately,
there's
what's
the same
happening
thing.
in a lot, and I've been to a lot of there.
oh man, it's the
Yeah.
biggest punch in the gut there is.
Development starts in the natural area.
Come on.
disappear.
I know that my son was born on St.
And then,
Patrick's Day,
you know,
and
then
then I
there's
I
no
went to
open
labor,
space.
there was a blizzard, and I remember calling my midwife, and I was like.
When I-
Like, oh,
I
I think you
had,
are, you should head to that, I'm like.
But
there's
basically,
no store.
when I sold it, in the jeans, they took me up to the-
I know this is your first, but trust
That I
me.
went
Two
to a
things,
lawyer.
regardless, both of us.
Put that music on.
Probably had that
Because
one.
one, it was.
There will always be a
plus
snowstorm.
Yes, but then you think about it, because like I said,
And
historically,
New
being my
Hampshire,
son's
it
birthday
was
now,
the
it's like.
best
there's
land
always
you
a
can have
snowstorm
for agriculture.
around your
So I
day.
made it in the deed, so they can never split it.
It's
And
great.
that was a
Living in-
proposed
Exactly.
rule that the person who
Exactly.
bought it didn't want to split it because he's now raising
I
cattle.
just read a book called,
So I'm just saying,
called
we
Your
did that
City
for a
is
reason.
Thick, and it's just about really poor planning, you know, and.
And my neighbor.
The guy said, the Rust Belt,
did the
the
same
Rust
thing.
Belt cities live in a state of perpetual march. Which was the saddest thing I read, like, oh my gosh, it's true, it's like muddy and
Yes.
gray. and-
What, my knee, oh, my knee. It looks
That's
like
terrible. It's terrible.
I think medicine kicked in a little bit. But
Midway.
Yeah, any extra?
No, I just wanted to say, I'm with you. I feel like I'm getting a little more, I felt like I had clearer thoughts and I feel like I'm getting a little muddier as we go. And maybe it's just a timing.
We'll also bank,
It's,
just add to that, because we've changed things, but the map still looks the same.
yeah.
It's hard for me to continue to keep track of what we changed
Well,
without
for
We're
changing it.
proposals together.
So-
I've given up.
Yeah,
on
and
what's
for
going
me, it
on,
just feels
basically. I
like-
have no idea anymore.
Every time we vote on something, then a new motion is posed to kind of skate around what we've just.
Well, I'll try to be a better traffic cop on
So it's kind of getting really confused, like, cause so I feel like this motion that just went up, like, shouldn't have come about because we've already kind of like.
Well, then that was
Like,
basically.
we're gonna stick with
then you-
parcel and not character.
But then you'd be in a
Right,
state where.
so we're
you-
now just making a character area,
But you-
even though we're doing an individual lot.
It's, we're,
Well, I
no,
thought we
no,
voted
we're
on
still keeping the.
Outlining the parcel.
No, I get it, but
That's
that
what-
area
You made a
is
general, you
basically
made a general.
getting around what we said we wanted.
I think when you see the map, you'll see a difference.
We misunderstood what we were.
No,
No.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just
Well, I
like,
mean,
yeah,
I'm not
these
saying-
yellows, like,
So I'm gonna.
Just belong to anybody before I throw it away.
no, I saw it there when we
Okay.
arrived this
I'm gonna
morning.
vessel control back to the focus area, so
Rachel, are you ready? I don't want to start.
one of the biggest topics we haven't even touched today yet, and I wanna touch it, so. I'm looking for. Narrow-ish, well, I won't use narrow, focused. Proposals to incrementally change. The medium density residential. If you see areas on this. On this map that you would scissor off and turn into something else, I'm interested in those proposals.
Are-
Does someone have one?
Are we gonna read the definition and have we changed the definition at all? No,
No.
okay. Alright, so that definition was not changed.
No, medium density we haven't touched,
Okay.
except to strike the reference, the number of units.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the medium density residential land use designation is established primarily to accommodate housing at a medium density scale, including missing middle housing currently served or anticipated to be served by public water and or sewer facilities. These areas are generally outside a hamlet or planned neighborhood zone. Recommended primary uses: single attached dwelling units, duplexes, attached townhomes, and accessory dwelling units.
Okay, who's got one?
That's what medium residential is.
I do, if someone else
Does
does.
someone else have one that they want to tackle first? Go ahead, Roxanne.
Okay. Very radical, but here I go. This area we've heard a huge amount about on Waterford Road. There's a huge amount of sensitivity to that area for a whole bunch of reasons, natural features, flooding, water, unique natural areas. I am suggesting that this, what I tried to outline, not didn't do a great job, like heron rookeries, all kinds of stuff's here. Goes up and along this creek, which is all part of the Tagana Creek natural focus area, all part of a flood zone. And over to here, connects up to this green one. Goes into resource conservation, and that we add some other language to make sure that wet areas, water courses. You know, it's mostly talking about the steep slope area now. This resource conservation, so this goes up into this green area, so it becomes this color, resource conservation. Because this is a huge natural resource area. A lot of this land, as you heard, is either held in conservation easements or working towards it. Finger Lakes Land Trust, I am told, is actively working towards protecting this corridor. So yes, indeed, if some of these had conservation easements, you couldn't do anything on them, but it seems illogical to me as the person who's supposed to be representing sustainability and conservation, and just in my core as an environmental scientist, that one would put dense development around conservation easements and natural resource conservation area. There's another reason that I'm making this argument. We are still leaving a amount of area that we are now putting into this pretty high density. And this was also, oh, and this I think should be taken out a little bit farther down because of the water resource. But we're still putting a huge amount along the transportation corridor that is in medium density. And then when you read, even in our own housing chapter, this is our housing chapter, in a call out sidebar, according to the New York State Housing Compact, communities should target a 1% growth rate in their housing stock every 3 years. Using this framework, the town of Ulysses should attempt to construct 151 new units by 2045, or about 8 units per year. So I feel strongly that we have plenty of places that we can put way more than 150 if people 8 per year, if in areas that are along transportation corridors, much more connected to potential services than this. And the other one thing I'll say is that is an argument for keeping this in conservation and not medium density residential, is when you read the Tompkins County housing strategy, 2017 to 2025, they're now going to be updating it in 2026, which I think is a fabulous opportunity for us to be part of that discussion, because they're going to do a countywide study of housing needs, where housing could go. So we could really participate. We said we're going to do a housing study, so this will be great. But they say that, and they point out for reasons including sustainability, that housing should be developed in sort of concentrated nodal areas that are close to services that keep people from potentially having to drive as much, because of, transportation is the second highest greenhouse gas emission. So we're supposed to be incorporating sustainability into this plan. That's what, that's what inspired our grant. It's not the only thing we're doing, but it is a major aspect. And so I think this really incorporates conservation and sustainability and makes much better sense than putting medium density residential there.
Is that a motion?
That is my motion.
All right.
Sorry, what, it's going to what though?
Resource conservation,
conservation.
this,
So everything that's orange in,
no, this line that I tried to draw here, sorry.
I think we'd all benefit from looking at it closely.
Yeah, everybody get up and take a walk.
No, I don't think-
But I thought then people who are, you know, like.
Yeah, get up and
I
take a
don't know
walk.
if that will help, and then you can erase it anyway. Nancy Zaylor spoke to some of this area over here being very wet, very wooded. Okay, like that, and this, I think this should go into it too, around the development district there.
So just the way that we have
And we may have to
defined,
the wording of resource conservation a little to, you know, really, because we do talk about some UNAs in resource conservation, but not that UNA, which is a very large forested, unique natural area.
so just to, because I have it in front of me, but the intent
Yeah.
of the conservation and environmental protection land use, which just for the record is different than resource conservation.
Oh, it's not called resource conservation?
There is a resource conservation character area out there.
Yeah.
Is that not?
It's not housed. Oh, you know what? I don't have the latest.
I thought it was when I was reading.
It might be so
the
the intent is to preserve the town's natural features. This land is made up of mature forests, farmland, land, wildlife habitats, streams, other natural features. This area contains steep slopes, wetlands, and highly erodible soils. That's
Right.
what we currently have as defined as. the
Right,
resource
so I
conservation.
would say that we would need to add, you know, a little bit more. We do make the example of some unique natural areas, so we could add the other ones. And then, you know, there's example areas too, and they're mostly focused on where it is now, but. You know, you would add Bolter Creek and Taganet Creek areas along there, which are the main. Feeders into the lake, which a lot of people talk about wanting to protect the lake and our natural resources too. And you're not adding a lot of impervious surface over there to an area which is very low, very lot of water goes into the lake, is in a flood zone already. So I just think for so many reasons, it makes no sense to put highest density development there when we have so many other places.
okay, wait.
Okay, so right now the motion is to change that area that's circled in
That
green
kind of green hat area
to
that I-
resource conservation.
Okay, to resource conservation.
So just to be clear, so I mean, I think everybody should look at this before voting, because this is cutting across a ton of properties and subdividing those properties into different zones.
Well,
Well, we can, I mean, that's an
That-
approximation, right?
I would-
Well, no, but we would want clarity on whether or not this, because that's what this line, if we're talking about this line. Right, so this is grassroots owns this property. I can tell you, they might show up and talk to us about it if we just split zone it. Maybe they won't. I mean, there's a solar property, the solar farm is right here. Anyway, I think everybody needs to look at it. This is a single parcel that's now split between. So this is a sub-parcel there's a lot of parcels that would be split between.
Yeah, that's the
Land
hard
use.
sell for me, that's splitting the parcels.
Well, I guess I was going back to Matt's thing, I guess I don't maybe. He was saying he would also make a map that we could consider that would have like fatter lines that, you know, were sweeping areas, and he talked about but maybe we voted that down and I'm just confused.
You did, but
About that, you know, like when your line comes across there, you're in that area for consideration, but also the other area on the other side.
I think that plays anyway, but
So
what
I
this,
guess I'm.
what this committee, back to Ty's point, what this committee determined was, A, it's gonna follow parcel lines, and B, a parcel is either going to be in or out. That's what the committee determined, so we can tighten
I
up,
guess I voted. against it.
we can tighten up
That's not what I thought.
the lines here, but
And then the allowed uses in that area are small scale agricultural, natural areas, single family homes, ecologically conscious local commerce business. Okay,
So, I mean, and I'm not picking on grassroots when I say this, but their solar farm is right here, so if the line moves over here, that would have no impact, right? But if the line moves here, you're putting that entire property, their former campgrounds into that. But I mean, it's just, I think the lines, I'm not trying to wipe anybody's off, sorry.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's
But my
quite
opinion
off.
Yeah, Anyway, so I think. I
So
think
you
the
all-
question is this, you know, I think in sections we need to think about, does this corridor that's already designated and protected and owned by the state? Does it, and we have 50-foot setbacks from water already embedded in our zoning, which I don't see changing. Do we need more? And I think that's the question. It's not, I wasn't taking a position on, but that's what that is.
For medium density residential.
So I think,
But we're talking about resource conservation.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I'm saying to take out medium density residential and put it into resource conservation.
What are we considering a water dependent use? So the businesses,
fishing,
Mhm.
anything that's tied to it, kind of. Anything you can swim up to, drive, boat up to.
which wouldn't be that area that Roxanne is.
No,
that's
creek.
Yeah, that, right? So
That's creek.
it's confusing to me. That doesn't, it
No,
doesn't jive.
that's a use, a water dependent uses are a category, right? Not,
Well, except it specifically calls it out, it can only be ecologically conscious local businesses, for example, ecotourism, hospitality, and water dependent uses.
Cause
Right.
it's written for that area too, that green area over there.
Right, I know
And
that,
so-
so right, I understand the
It would have
green area,
to be
that makes
tweaked.
sense.
It would include that, they'd be both green, so yeah, it includes that, and then we would tweak it a little to include the things that are more likely to happen over there.
so water dependent
It
uses,
doesn't mean we have to have water dependent uses. over there.
exactly, that's a choice. You wouldn't select it for some of these lots because it wouldn't be possible in some of these lots.
Well, yeah, except you're, I'm just saying, if you're looking at economic development too, though, you're severely limiting any local commercial business, if you really want that.
Yeah, that's the,
In that area.
that's the swivel, yeah.
In the area that we were talking about, the medium density residential.
Right.
And so are we talking about building up commercial uses
No.
there too? I don't understand what we're.
Well,
talking
medium
about.
density residential does allow for,
Business and
Business.
ecological development, so that's, I think that's the thing for me, like Tide said at the last meeting, something that stuck with me, that we're looking at. The future, the possibilities of what are there, right? So I really bought into the whole mixed medium density, got really excited about that, because I feel like one of the things we do is we talk the talk, we don't walk the walk, right? You know, we want to have more affordable housing, but in order to do that, it seemed like the mixed medium density was what we had to identify some of these properties for. But then everybody came in and said, oh, that's great, but not in my backyard. No, it's fine in Jacksonville, but not in my backyard, that kind of stuff. So I'm really stuck on this right now, the NIMBY concept, and where it makes sense. I understand from, as a planner, correct me if I'm going wrong here, because I'm
so far so good.
trying to get some understanding from other planners. You want to do nodal development, right? So where you have water, so there's no water out here.
There
There's
is
water.
village water.
So if you're following, I'm just saying, if you're
Yeah.
following that concept where there's water, then you have the opportunity for nodal development, right? So all along here makes sense. I mean, technically, the water, I think, water goes all, that doesn't go up all the way up 96.
It goes up as far as Cold Springs
And
and
then-
it takes a left on Cold Springs.
Okay. So. Yeah, I mean, I get stuck on this because, you know. You can't say we want to be more inclusive and then say, just kidding, we really don't, right? Because nobody can afford to live here anymore. We're really pricing ourselves out. And unless we do something with land use to allow for future development, I'm not sure where we're going.
Roxanne, sorry.
I'm not at all opposed to increasing development. Again, I will just say for the record, recording, when people listen to it, we are putting in a huge amount of area in areas that are much more conducive to having more affordable because of transportation and other things. Development, filling in, increasing the density, we have a huge amount of it that we're increasing. This is not an area that makes sense for that. We're supposed to be, I mean, when you look at what people said that they care about in this town, the natural beauty, the natural resources, all of these features were super high up there, super high up. And so, yes, they care about housing too, but we are addressing that in this map, but we are not protecting those areas by putting this here. And to me, it just makes no sense. It's a lot of it is in conservation already. if, like I said, it's a flood zone, it's all these things that we say in this plan that we looked at the Tompkins County Conservation Plan, we've looked at all of these different things, and I'm showing you the maps for these things, this doesn't make any sense there. I don't see why it's needed there, just because there is water somewhere, there's water in lots of places, there's gonna be potentially water more. I don't know how this water will develop or not, but it doesn't mean every single place that there's water, we have to have dense development, we have.
And we're not saying, we're saying we're having an opportunity for, so like, and.
An opportunity in the next.
But we don't-
years.
Yeah, but we don't know if in the next 20 years, this quarter and 96, these properties are gonna be sold for that, right? Like maybe there is one over there. Like if we're limiting only in one area, we're not gonna have any opportunity.
That is not planning.
It is planning because there is,
This, one time, please. To me, that is just not planning. Planning is like, where do you want these things to go? What I've read, where do you want these things to go and to develop in the future? And we're gonna do this housing study, and Tompkins County's gonna do it, and we're gonna look at all these things, and maybe then we'll change this map. But I argue to err on the side of protection for the natural environment in this corridor, which, I mean, I've handed out those maps. I don't think anyone's looked at them. But look at them. Like, they are not a place to have high density development with impervious surface and everything else. And I won't say any more about it, but
Carl or Mo,
I wish people would consider.
can help.
We do not
What's
need this
that?
everywhere.
Give up.
you're out.
But I wanna make sure everybody else.
Ann is raised her hand.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ann. She's on the call. And.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, one thing I just wanted to throw into the conversation, and sorry to be kind of, I was in and then I was out again, but so I've missed some of what was said. But one thing I really agree with I think that was Roxanne speaking, is that it's easier, and I think we said this earlier, it's easier to relax things than to make them more strict. And what I heard people saying with housing, we definitely heard people saying they want more housing, they want mixed income housing, versatile housing, but maybe what they don't want is 80 units an acre. And so to me, what really stood out to me in all those conversations was that people were like, okay, yeah, like some, but not like a million. So that's where I kept getting hung up in this conversation, was that we were unwilling to define what we meant by high, medium, or low density, or we did define it, then we took it out because people didn't like the definition. And to me, what makes sense is to pick something that can appeal to the most people, which would be, yes, opportunity for housing to be developed. But I think you could go to the most populated spot on the map and ask them if they want 80 units on an acre, and everyone's going to say no to that. So you start with something that makes sense in the town, which is maybe it's low density, and maybe that expands 10 years down the road because there is something that's going to come in or wants to come in, and now there's water or whatever. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, and sorry if it already got said, but.
Just to make sure that the public understands, no one's proposing 80 units.
Caitlin, and then I want.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify, we're not talking high density, we're talking, and Liz read out the description, we're talking about single families, duplexes, and attached row houses, townhouses. We're not talking about 80 units on an acre in a multifamily apartment building that, that's not what we're
Right.
talking.
And I think that's what
what
needs to be defined. Like, I think that's the thing that needs to be defined. If it's like we're talking 1 or 2 units, I think most people are going to be comfortable with that sort of development.
That, what I'm saying is that's what Liz read out, that's actually in the definition, what I just said.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I
You
missed.
that might have been part of the.
Yeah, so I just want to be really clear with the public, because what I don't want the takeaway, if any reporters watch this afterwards, is we're proposing 80 units. I don't, so number one, that. Number two is the so affordability is also, it's determined by a couple of things, right? How much the land costs to purchase. So right now, in the 85% of the town outside the village, it's a 2-acre minimum. Okay, that's a lot of land. That's expensive. That drives up costs. Driving up costs when you have to put in your own well, you have to put in other things. Those drive up costs. So the public says they want more housing. they want to preserve agricultural land. We just took a huge swing at preserving a bunch of agricultural land.
Yep.
I think we need to strongly look at where those existing water lines are, because I'm here to tell you, there might be future water lines. There probably are not going to be a lot of future water lines. There might be some minor extensions in the future. There might be replacement of existing infrastructure. But water is there, it's now $1.2 million per mile to install. So I would be shocked if we see brand new water lines in the town that are not replacing existing infrastructure or connecting existing infrastructure to other pieces. So I could get on board for some changes on the western side, and I'm not opposed to, you know, conservation, all of that. I'm willing to go to lower density along parts of Waterburg. But this proposal as it is, I will vote no on, because I think it's too big of a swing with too many unknowns affecting property owners who have, this was not on their radar screen.
I want to note too, and we're and you're appropriately coming back to definitions. Well, we just need to define it. We need to define it. We need to define it. And we did take out the units per acre. That does give a whiff of zoning, and it might be confusing folks, but the remaining metric in the plan is 50% or less lot coverage. So there has to be 50% open space on your lot, right? And so when we got down to, I was so thankful to have Niels here that day when he was talking to us about, yeah, we're not talking about putting 30 units on this 1 acre of land. What we're trying to do is equate smaller lot sizes so we can get more units on this piece of the land and preserve the open space on that piece of land, right? And so at the end of the day, the Caitlin's right. I mean, I like the characterization of higher density. It's certainly higher density than 1 unit per 2 acres, but it's still very sparse. I mean, it's single family, townhomes, duplexes,
Which are already legally allowed.
yeah. So it's, I mean, they're not.
Townhouses aren't.
So I just wanted to say that in case people were starting. I'm pretty. It doesn't matter what I think, but I think the definition is clear, and I just want folks to kind of keep coming back and anchoring yourself to that definition. You can not like the definition, that's fine, but I think it's clear as to what it's after.
I'm standing because I stretch.
Right.
I want to give folks opportunities.
Well, just a point of clarification on the quote, conservation easements and that kind of stuff on that chunk of Waterburg and Indian Fort. I went through all the deeds online, and there is only 2 properties right next to the long skinny one that we just took out and made farmland the last time that have any restrictions. None of the rest have any deeded restrictions in there. So if the property sells, you know, if something is in soil bank now and the property sells, that soil bank goes away. So that whole row up through there, none of those properties, I could find anything in their deeds that restrict them from being converted to whatever sort of housing you want.
We had somebody here speaking, said they put theirs in conservation. So.
And he could be one of the ones that Carl.
No.
No, it's not that they don't live there.
Okay. Any other thoughts on, so I will say that I am not against, and I actually like the idea of adding some of this area down here to the resource conservation area. I'm focused mostly on this area. In my mind, I think this area, we have a lot of really good protections in place. And Rabbit Run is very dense, and I wanna have to kind of leave that there, but if we focus the area here, changing this, I think I could get on board, just for the record.
And just to be clear, for me, sorry,
So
there's no water past this point, right?
no, there's
There
a
is.
water line
There's
that
a water
goes
line
out to
that's
the
all,
house.
okay. But
And it will,
this is also the area that's already protected, the archaeological area, the Indian Fort area.
Yeah.
We already
Just
considered
that long skinny one out there.
which we can't, we're,
Yep.
so by adding to the resource conservation land use, that's a way to not call that out specifically, because we need to maintain protection of that, so people don't go reporting. But I think in this area where we have the UNA already in place and the flood zone, I could get behind supporting that being changed to resource conservation. Because it allows farming and it does allow residential that's there now.
So,
And,
Before-
But I don't,
single family, it's allowed, that's one.
yeah, so, yeah.
so
Can I say that?
before we dive into that, there's a proposal on the table. Is there any further discussion on the proposal that's on the table?
I just-
Well,
The proposal is for the whole thing.
Yes.
I don't know if you'd accept a motion or an amendment.
Can we, since that amendment is a pretty significant pullback from
Yep.
what's there, I want to make sure I'll let Roxanne answer that question.
I mean, I don't think it is that big of a pullback, but I guess. I mean, the
I know.
rest is really just going along Taganic Creek, so we're just recognizing that that is a very sensitive area. Ecologically and cutting up, and I was just reacting to the. The statements that Nancy Zaylor made at the last meeting. With that part that cuts across the parcels, and so I don't know if we have to outline those or what, I mean, if you wanna do that, but. Like, and maybe go like here instead. But that this is all wooded, it's a very wet area, it's not an area that's applicable for developing. And so that's why when I drew this, I put that, she said it's very
It's
wet
just that-
water area.
it's that orange square in the corner,
Defined wetland.
yeah.
But like, so if you wanna do that, I don't know, but like, I was reacting to that input, which made a lot of sense to me when I looked at the other maps. And so that's why I had that, and the rest that I have is just basically along an area that's just really already hard to build on and right on the creek, and so,
Well,
and right influenced by the creek.
And, but we do have 50-foot setbacks.
Mhm.
We do have, you guys are talking
Yeah,
about
100
how.
foot setbacks on Organic Creek,
Yeah,
yeah.
True.
Okay. So,
So I guess I'll leave it like this for now, and it can get voted down, and then we can make a different proposal, but I really feel like it's important to integrate this stuff, and also coming up along some of this area here. I mean, the creek is incredibly steep and it's undercutting the land. It's a really sensitive area.
I think
It should be
We
noted
need
in a
to-
future plan.
we need to.
Right.
So we
yeah,
have a
go
motion.
for it,
We
go.
got 25 minutes.
we have a
That's all I was
motion,
trying
we have a
to say.
motion and a second. All in,
Sorry,
yes,
made a second to that initial motion that Roxanne.
I think
I don't know.
it was Ann. Isn't it
I
Ann?
don't think it was.
Oh, she was not here.
She wasn't here for that. She wasn't here for. I don't know if there was.
But I let it get out of the barn without a second.
Right.
All right, fails for lack of a second.
Oh,
Um,
I should have kept my mouth.
Nope.
no, you're doing a good job. Next,
So do we
so is there
want
another,
to make a motion and then we can, if somebody wants.
Okay, I moved, same thing I moved before, that I outlined, and it does include that sensitive area where the stream is really undercutting as you're going close to the village there, and it comes along and it goes into that parcel there back behind it, into edge of Ag Garden 96, which has been told by the people who live there that's really wet and forested and not very buildable and protects the stream. So I make a motion that area that I drew,
so this is the motion that was
Because-
previously on the table.
resource conservation with some editing of the text to add in the other unique natural area and features of that area.
Okay.
Is there a second to that motion? Okay.
Is-
So,
Don't get
Okay.
frustrated yet. It's only one step and you might be still getting a piece of, just might not get part of it. That's the thing.
so is there
Is
a?
there,
Oh.
oh, you got so I forgot. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. I'm not doing a great job of it. It's
No,
easy to
you
forget.
did it. I forgot.
Is there another proposal for medium density residential? Does anybody else have a specific proposal for trimming?
So.
I do.
Yeah, go.
Great.
I have a
I'm happy
proposal
for it.
for, I think. A mark, can I use marker? Where's the marker?
Yes.
Is there a
whole set of them?
Is there a? It's all right here.
Yeah.
So I have a proposal,
Oh,
right here. This is at the intersection of Perry City, Van Dorn Corners and 96. I think that instead, of being, medium density on the opposite side of the road, it's actually this particular parcel. And this particular parcel. So those are, they're in agricultural use right now. It's right at the intersection of 96, Perry City and Van Dorn. Right across the street, we have, the.
Little shade and, yeah.
Yeah, and so, we've got the, active business corridor, and we have a very walkable neighborhood right now. I have walked it. So I know, and there, it's a very much, the Van Dorn, Corners neighborhood is a very walkable neighborhood to these services right here. The town has had people in the past want to do some development right here on this corner. It's a really high visibility corner. There's a flashing light there. There's businesses there. I think it makes sense to turn that blue, these two parcels blue. So that
Blue neighborhood mixed use. Blue.
Yeah, that matches what's across the street.
Okay.
Because this seems like, I wouldn't want to take it commercial, not saying red, I'm saying there, because I think we can find realistically compatible uses. There's water available, it's on the main transportation corridor. The public said they wanted development on Route 96, and this seems like two parcels that seem logical to include in that, because were you on the board when we talked about when the guy came about the candle, the no fumes candle?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah.
Sunbeams.
Anyway, so and that seems like a logical place in the future that people could have some business. So I'm gonna make that motion of turning those two parcels from one's medium density, one is low density residential, to neighborhood mixed use.
Hold on, I just have to look back at mixed medium and make sure I understood one thing. Cause that seems like a good node concept, right? Like there's already we already have a dispensary and a little restaurant.
And there's another business a little bit farther down. Cause that's where the pull off is, where you can check your brakes.
Yeah.
So
Does someone have a second for Caitlin's motion?
So these are just the ones that are on 96.
parcels on 96.
Yeah, well, actually, you probably could make it a little bit bigger.
Sorry.
That microphone's put clear on.
Matching what's mixed use on the other side of the road in terms of like.
Yeah.
Where the parcels are located, that's right, I made the two.
Okay, cause medium density residential,
Well, there's a
Does
little
not
blue on
include
the other
for
side,
businesses.
right?
I'm saying, yeah,
Right,
on
okay.
the side and blue on that side.
that's what I did to separate my brain.
So
So
do
yes.
we have a second to this proposal?
I'm gonna second that.
A motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Great.
Do you get a photograph of Roxanne's and of Caitlin's proposal, just for the record here? It's hard to photograph the likeness.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Rachel.
I have it on here too, which I can send you.
Okay.
A little tiny one.
Okay, other proposals for medium density residential?
Do you have the flood map, the 2025 flood map?
I have that, I have this is the map of the flood zone. And I have the creek
Yeah,
and the water.
I wanna make sure.
I don't have the creek.
Other proposals?
I wanna get back to Roxanne's, but-
Kim, you had one?
No, I was gonna look for the FEMA map, cause I think we have that handy. I just want to apologize for taking that extra minute. I'm losing the threads of what the descriptions
Fine.
are.
No,
And I
not
just
at
want to
all.
make sure about the business piece, cause the nodes are an important concept.
I texted it to you. Which is
Okay.
probably not as helpful. I realize that, sorry. I will email it to you.
I'm trying to.
So are there other future land use map proposals generally?
So I wanna go back to Roxanne's, I'm trying to pull up the map. The FEMA map, because I wanna make sure that we address this appropriately. Ah, got it. Okay, so just going back to Roxanne's about the conservation zone and changing Waterberg Road and Rabbit Run. Like I said, I can get supportive and behind the resource conservation area, but I think it needs to, I wanna be a little smaller area, and focus mostly here where we have the floodplain. It's the 2020 last year, 2025 FEMA redid the whole floodplain mapping for all of the town. This area is still in the flood zone. It's actually back of these parcels, but obviously we're not doing parcel or character areas, we're following lines. So to protect these areas here between Mayo Road.
There's markers up
There you
there, yeah.
Oh, I stole one, sorry.
And set them there with different colors and that sort of stuff.
Here, I'm gonna pick a different color.
Right, and that's why I brought the whole set.
So, I like orange is a good one. Just to focus this area, and then we can always talk about more, but for right now, my motion is to change this area between Mayo Road and then down Waterberg Road. Not there, this area here, and actually we can do this one too, not touching anything on South Street Extension, Rabbit Road, Cold Springs Road, leaving it right here. As resource conservation.
It's a motion. Is there a second?
I didn't hear you.
Resource conservation.
Oh,
I'll second that.
Motion second.
This is the UNA area, this is the flood area.
Discussions on this, questions for Liz?
So you're taking out that,
Just this for right now.
the other part that I drew, well, we're in the other, so. Yeah,
What, this area?
yeah, the whole of the Indian Fort area down there.
Yeah, these are,
Big farms. up
or the
there.
big farms and they came and wanted farming, so.
Right, but you can still do farming,
Yeah.
resource conservation, can't
I
you?
mean, if it's easier to clean, then.
People were saying in the Indian Fort, there was all of that about the.
The archaeological.
Yes, and stuff, and so I thought Indian Fort should be included. Because there's a good reason for that.
So you're amending it,
Mhm.
adding that section. Okay.
Is your second
I'll
hold?
be second hold.
So just to clarify, it includes the Indian Fort, it addresses the archaeological, which we know is protected anyway, but it is a good faith effort to show that we're hearing it. Okay,
It's the farmland, it's the areas that we've been told have easements on them for conservation, future conservation, it's. Flood areas, it's habitat areas,
and it would go to
and
resource
it's
conservation.
resource conservation, which still allows farming and single residential houses with accessory units, I believe. So people could still do what they're doing here now and continue this. You can't build a duplex there, but you could have a single family home. You could subdivide, put more homes if you wanted to.
Other questions?
Just, I have one, which is, so in the current FEMA flood map. The part that goes along the creek and down here, that's not a flood zone anymore?
No, it
The
is.
part
I
that's
just,
like undercutting all the land along on the way into the village, that's not a flood zone? I'm just
You have
curious
enough-
why that you are good
Because I'm
with that
just
flood
taking
zone, but not the
I'm
other
just taking
flood
it
zone.
one step at a time. I
Well,
think these are very different areas.
Well,
Here versus.
in terms of conservation,
Be-
not.
For between, so my area here is focused on. Here, the stream is quite deep, and I guess I understand that
And
there's,
really steep slopes on the
Steep
sides
slopes,
and
yeah.
eroding.
but
and-
with here, with the 100-foot setback and so forth that we have, I think. Here we have more natural features that limit and restrict. Development that could occur in these areas. Here, the more open lands. I'm not saying flat, because there's no part of this town flat. But there are more opportunities that could be here for development. And I could see the need for more protection and conservation here. Because of the opportunities that are out there. FEMA. I got FEMA map here.
Okay, I just was curious why, I mean,
The FEMA floodplain here is quite wide.
Mhm.
Here it's limited to the stream itself.
because it's so steep.
Yes, yes.
I move to call the question.
Yep,
Runs
call the
off.
question. All right, everyone in
Question,
favor of
move
this
call the
proposal?
question.
Everyone in favor?
Where am I supposed to park to go to Just Falafel?
Can you
Wanna be
write
with
some?
What's for lunch? All right, let me try that again. All
Well,
those in
so
favor
what
of this
about to go
proposal?
to a restaurant?
All opposed?
But I reiterate for the public and the record that I really feel like that is all that I proposed is very sensitive, should have been included.
Okay.
And I don't understand the difference, and this is supposed to be about sustainability as a major thing in this plan, so.
Okay,
Just look at the maps online.
Yes.
Yes.
No, Roxanne's no.
Oh,
That's the 2019 NRI, just to let you know. That's.
she said yes, but she was,
This is the mapping tool that Tompkins County. never
Right.
featured.
Yeah, I know. It's the NRI inventory. I checked it because
It's the most current thing that's.
which is from 2019.
Change just made, so we get rid of that.
Let's zoom in.
Down there,
let's focus up. What's up? We got 10 minutes. Is there,
below where you just.
is 10 minutes too shallow to take on one more? They have one.
One or two properties for medium density.
Oh, yeah, do it, go do it. Carl has a proposal. Quick-
Carol, you have a proposal?
Quick,
We got
what's the
a-
proposal?
Since we just made that big chunk of conservation area, there are 2 or 3 little properties south of Indian Fort Road that were orange at this point for medium density.
Mhm.
I would propose that we would make them the low density residential, just like Waterberg, that's right next to it.
Yeah. Got it.
Make a-
I'll second it.
Make-
Got a motion and a second. Discussion.
Makes great sense, in my opinion.
Good eye, Carl. We would have had an island floating around out there.
Seconded,
Mo,
Caitlin.
over tie.
Sorry.
Mo's. Alright, yeah, all in favor of this proposal? Alright, unanimous.
What's that about?
No, I won't.
I've got one there. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Any other type proposals? No brainers. Carl always has a knack for the no brainer.
I feel like we've got our list.
We did get the list, that's for sure. Got us quintupled the number of decisions you've made in the last
I
30.
guess I'll just make one more fast proposal, so. you
Sure.
can put that down. Because we've already kind of talked about it, but. I think that this area, I guess it's hard to make a line, but. Over here, there's all these little teeny properties. Again, I feel like this should just be. Like. I don't know where it goes. Just agriculture and not all these little, I think it should go up here. All these little divisions that just make no sense in a tiny little thing. So I'm just proposing it. We don't have a lot of time to talk about it. I've already articulated the reasons that I think it should be.
Can I ask
And
one
I know what the
clarification?
result is, but I just want to say it because I want it on the record.
Can I ask one clarification?
Sure.
Spruce Row stays out of that, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
right. I mean, because it's what it is, but the land around it
Okay.
is that.
Nope, I just wanted
That
to.
it becomes the same as that lower.
The green, the ag.
Yeah, that with the single residences and stuff like that, but so that we don't have. These little tiny, like, along the road, there's one thing, there's this, and there's one ag there, and there's all these little things hanging around, it just doesn't make sense as a cohesive character area feature.
Sorry, do you guys understand the proposal?
Questions for Roxanne on this
Yeah,
or general discussion?
well, you already know what I think, so.
I don't think of that area.
Me too, I'm trying to orient myself because there's 2 developments on Du Bois. I just want to make sure they're both there. One is the hinging post and one is down further. Oh, Evergreen must be the first.
Not in the line.
I realized that. I
Okay.
wanted to make, I was trying to,
I just wanted to
orient
make sure I
myself,
didn't
orient-
draw it wrong.
I was trying to orient myself to make sure that the
Yeah.
one that's further down the road,
Right.
that's all I was trying to orient. myself there.
Caitlin, you have other questions?
Well, I just wanted to see it more closely.
One other question, I guess. Somehow we have this little area with
I was
resource
gonna ask about that.
conservation here.
Yeah.
That's part of a unique natural area that extends up Craft. comes above Dubois or Du Bois on that
I
corner.
was just looking at that.
That's a senior center.
There is that one little spot.
It's an extension on a unique natural area.
Maybe that,
Yeah.
Elizabeth. Yeah, that one section. Yeah, because that's Willow Creek.
No, I wanna,
Where they're at.
Yeah, because
So-
it's Willow Creek, actually, I guess I'm.
So that
So
little
I'll-
yellow one should
Should be
be,
green.
There's, you can see that funny little point on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Mom.
So that would all go to grading.
yeah,
It's part of a unique.
That's my
natural
personal.
area.
So would be a little green spur there.
right.
This is a unique natural area. It's just.
right, that's, yeah, I don't know why it's yellow. What the person-
Other questions? All right, a motion and a second.
Are we voting on both the little green
No,
spur
no, no, no,
and?
no, just right now the ag.
No, nobody
Okay.
did there.
Going to ag.
But I didn't have that, I drew, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait a minute,
So there's a discussion. We're not voting it.
Landowners who live there, wanna hear your thoughts.
okay, so we're just doing the section on the west side of Dubois.
Yes.
So yeah, this month, like, it goes like that roughly.
Oh, okay,
My
oh,
drawing,
Yeah.
not this.
oh, I thought we were talking about the other little section.
No.
Oh, okay.
other questions?
Got 5 minutes.
All in favor?
TikTok.
All in favor of this proposal?
I-
Wait, isn't there, there's a business? Oh, is that, oh, never mind. It's the. The computer business is the purple one on this side, okay. And then-
No, development district.
Right, but there's a computer business right there. Yeah, in the bar.
That's so fun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's
It's the other Moors, not us.
no, I know.
Okay.
I didn't get, I called it, but I don't wanna leave anybody out. All in favor? Any opposed?
Just because like the philosophy, I still can't go, like, yeah.
Carl and Ty?
You ought to know.
No,
Okay.
Let me start,
I said no.
let me start, let me start
I think
clean.
it just didn't come down.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Oh, you're
All
still on the draw, you're voting
right.
no.
sorry.
Caitlin, you had one last proposal.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that one. Are you doing the little one on craft? That little, yeah,
Sure.
He wants to.
Well, Then mine's after
that one, yeah, just to connect to the conservation.
So I think you're.
Yes, I'm making that
Ready
one.
there.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Wait, wait.
Hold on.
It's the, what did you do with the map?
oh, you have it.
Oh, there's a piece of a unique natural area that sticks up here above Dubois Road.
Yeah,
It's actually part of unique natural area 61.
right.
Okay, questions on that? So now we're just talking about the little link up here,
That was Carl.
pinky toe.
I made the motion.
Mo's motion, who's Caitlin seconded? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Supervised.
One, last one.
Last one.
Oh,
So
one
I'm
more.
gonna suggest that this goes yellow. And the reason is
Oh, that's-
because this is the one Nancy Zaylor's been talking about.
That's the swampy one.
It's woods.
It's
Some of
woods,
it
it's been
wooded.
former agriculture.
Yeah,
It hasn't been maintained, it's been, they've taken lumber out of it, things like that, so it is actually quasi agricultural still in use.
Yeah.
I think it makes more sense because of the topography, I think it makes more sense as, low density residential than it does in medium residential. I think it would be inappropriate to turn it agricultural and have it be surrounded by everything else, but I think lowering the density on this makes logical sense. And I would perceive that it would not, there wouldn't be a drive necessarily for higher density over the next 20 years. So
I'll
I think
second it.
that-
Motion.
Are
and a
you
second.
gonna include Nancy Zaylor's house in that too?
No,
Since it's up- Yeah, what is that designated as? Like me?
this is all the,
Legacy.
Yeah.
Oh, me.
She's.
she's right,
Okay.
Nancy's right there.
yeah.
It's not gonna change how her property functions
Right.
in any sizable way, right?
Well, I just figured we'd come down Agard Road to hit 96 and
Yeah.
make it simple, but.
No,
So we have a motion and a second. Did you get the second?
Yeah, I think.
Shift from orange to.
Yellow.
Yellow.
To
density,
low density residential.
which is what it's adjacent to
Right.
on that side.
Okay, questions for that? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Okay. Path forward first. Thanks to Carl, the Mylar proved invaluable today. It's exactly what we
That's why
needed.
it's there.
Thanks to Roxanne for pushing back this morning on the original procedures. I think this was a better discussion for that. Thanks to everyone for coming in on Saturday and giving up the only 70-degree morning that we're gonna have. Get your winter coats back out for the end of the week. We're teed up to meet Wednesday.
Yep.
Wednesday's a big one in the current calendar. Wednesday is the last day to offer edits from the committee before the next draft.
For the whole plan.
Yes.
And so 6 months goes
That's
fast,
a big
right?
chart.
But if you operate on the tenor you had today, or the tempo I should say you had today, I think you should be able to get a bunch of stuff in. And then, from there, the current plan is to feed Highland the edits. So you obviously won't see edits on this map Wednesday, but we'll go ahead and get moving on it so that all of this stuff ties together at the end of the month for your second March meeting, which currently is scheduled as a referral to town board conversation.
And that date is the 25th, thank you, not the 18th.
And so we'll look forward to seeing you all this week, and really, really great work today. You guys worked hard, got it done. Thanks. Anybody have
Thank you for
anything?
coming in.
Yeah, anytime.
Can we get little gold stars?
Dude, perfect attendance. Saturday.
Once,
Oh,
As soon as someone-
we need to.
I need to call for adjournment.
I will make a motion.
I will second.
Thank you, everyone.
All in favor
All in
of
favor?
adjournment?
Yeah.
There you go.
Now-
25th,
Yes,
and thank you. Oh,
the 11th is open to the public too.
yeah, this was a much better meeting.